Hi guys, we are here at the Startup Factory and we're going to be here talking about Social Plug and the launch of Startup Factory's new book. We're going to be discussing how Social Plug came to be, how me not being able to write a line of code is now running and owning a tech company. So I'm really excited about the event. We're going to be talking to some really interesting guests, some investors are going to be here. We've also got some of the engineers here at Startup Factory, and we've got Chris who's going to be presenting, talking more about the tech community in Manchester and what it involves.
So my name is Chris McGuire, I'm your host today. I can't guarantee you much, but I can guarantee you this will be my best performance in 582 days. Marcus Rashford, of course, his biggest fan, the person he credits everything to is, of course, his mum, isn't it? Which brings me neatly on to Rhys Douglas, founder of Social Plug, and your biggest fan. Now, where's your mum? Where's your mum?
She's there.
Nice to see you, nice to see you. You always bring your mum to all these events as well, so whatever happens, you're going to get standing ovation from that lady in the front row. But I wish my mum would come to some of these events. Sadly, she's not as loyal as your mum or Marcus Rashford's mum as well. Now, before we talk about your business, Social Plug, which is what we're here to talk about, I want to talk about your acting career as well. One of your best known for, obviously, Waterloo Road. People recognise you from that as well. You're a tech entrepreneur now, so if you got a phone call, if your mum got a phone call from Hollywood, from a big movie maker and said, right, Rhys, we want you as a lead role, what would you say? Would you say, no, I'm busy with Social Plug?
I'd say, what's your route to market? Do you need influencers?
Because that is your business, Social Plug. Social Plug is a platform that enables customers to create branded content at scale. That's the solution. What's the problem you're trying to fix?
Well, to give you a bit of a backstory, started off as an actor, built quite a following on social media. And this is before influence marketing was really a buzzword. I got a lot of requests from brands asking to send me products and for me to promote it on my social media feed. Now, acting unfortunately isn't as glamorous as it sounds. You're spending 80% of the time in a green room doing F all, to be quite honest with you. So I spent a lot of the time pissing the postman off and getting everything sent through the door free of charge. But I see that there's a massive problem in the market because brands as big as Canada Goose, which are a premium coat company, were asking me to wear their product on my Twitter and sent me about £4.5 worth of product. But what confused me was that they were asking me to promote it on Twitter. And when I just literally flicked on my profile, switched it around and looked at my audience demographics, 80% of my followers were female, which is awful, I know. But Canada Goose were making a critical mistake because they were fundamentally marketing to the wrong audience. So I thought, how could such a big brand make such a silly mistake? So it got to a point where not only the postman was getting pissed off, but so was my mum. So I decided that I'd actually flip it and start working with smaller time brands and trying to help them effectively work with influencers like myself more effectively. So that's how I started, and then as Social Plug kind of has developed, what I've noticed was that traditional advertising, when you look at like my granddad and when he was younger and radios and papers, it was always driven by major brands. And I feel that most brands are set up for high quality production of content and low volume. And now if you look at platforms, you've got Twitter, you've got Facebook, you've got TikTok, you've got Snapchat, and these brands have got so many different platforms to keep up with content. And I think some entrepreneurs in the room know the power of testing, which starts with customers and starts with data. But that all starts with marketing, and marketing starts with content.
Rhys, can I just ask you a quick question? Because you said there, 80% of your followers are female.
That's correct.
Yeah, half of my followers are female, the other one's my dad. Okay.
Thanks,
right.
Chris.
But what I was going to ask you is that when we talk about influencers, you hear things like, they always say if it doesn't work, just rush it on. But a lot of influencers, you hear like Geordie Shore and Love Island, things like that. That is like the Wild West, because you don't necessarily want to be associated with certain people, and you get asked to model things for like £4,000 or whatever it is as well. Some people will just do anything, won't they, for the cash? So how do you navigate your way through what influencers to use, and what does Social Plug do to make sure that they're ethical?
Well, I think when you initially mention influencer to anybody, straight away the first names that probably pop in your mind are Kim Kardashian. And for me, that's just a critical mistake that brands are making, because they see a big shiny influencer with millions of followers that'll turn around to a brand and say, yeah, we'll pose for you and we'll charge £10,000. And whatever decision that brand makes with that influencer, because everybody charges different prices as an individual depending on what format you want them to post and where you want them to post. What you actually do is you look at the audience demographics of that influencer. So although you've paid that individual £1 million or £10,000 to promote to those 1 million followers, If you're a fitness brand, for example, that already narrows down that million followers to male audience. If you're a young fitness brand, then you've got to look at the age of that audience. So by the end of it, what you're actually doing is paying to market to 1 million people, when in fact your actual target market are probably 10,000. So what I found was that micro-influencers are those people that have 10,000 followers, but they're not celebrities where people have followed them for various different reasons. These are individuals just like me and you that have got a passion for cooking, or a passion for wearing fitness clothes, or a passion for education, and have consistently talked about that time and time again. And those followers have built up and are consistently engaging with that individual because they love what they talk about and they love what they promote. And that is why they're more effective.
So I'm a restaurant selling burgers in Manchester, right, and I want to do a deal to try and get more people to buy my burgers at some special offer, and I decide to use an influencer. I've not been approached myself yet, but I'm sure the time will come. How does Social Plug work in that scenario?
Okay.
Would that be something you would work on?
Yeah, so to truly succeed as a restaurant, you need 3 things: new customers, returning customers, and customer spend consistently increasing to maximise profits. So to create an offer on the Social Plug platform, you entice influencers with an offer, be it local or online, and it's got to be a product that obviously is going to maximise your products. This is what you want an influencer to talk about and show their followers, right? So to survive and stay relevant, as I've talked about with content on different formats, you need content. So these influencers will go out there, they'll create content, and they'll load it onto the Social Plug platform. They'll post it onto their feed as well. So straight away, your first benefit is you're getting an endless stream of content that you can repurpose on many different formats without breaking the bank. And then second of all, Social Plug then starts to identify your top performing content. So you've got 10 influencers have gone out, they've created this burger, they've uploaded and posted it on the feed. Social Plug goes, hey, out of the 10 pieces of content that have gone out there, these are the top 2 that are really performing well. And then what we do is that we convert that post into an advert. So you've got the two top pieces of content, you turn that into an advert, and then Facebook will allow us to reach more people with that influencer's post, and that enables us then to reach more people and be more hyper targeted. But what your call to action on this is one thing. So with an influencer, the way you can call to action, as you may know, when you swipe up stories on Instagram, or influencers like to put a link in their bio, it can very easily get dismissed. But with Facebook ads, you can have a call to action. So you can quite clearly put learn more, sign up now, download, whatever it might be. But what the trick here is that most people will say, okay, click here to go over to your website, right? And you can go and buy something off your website. What we found is that if it's like a simple burger place, you tell an influencer to click on and it goes over to their messenger. What happens then when you go over to the messenger is you've got a 90% open rate. You know, I think there's about an average 18% open rate on emails. People are bored of them. You've got spam folders, right? But Facebook Messenger, you've got a 90% open rate.
Okay, you've got an idea for a business, which is Social Plug. You approach the guys and the girls at Startup Factory.tech a couple of years ago. You say, I've got this great idea. They tell you, you know, Reece, go away for a year, put some more meat on the bones, come back to us, and then we'll take it from there. What happened after that?
Well, first of all, it took a lot longer than a year. It started in UK Fast. For 4 years, I was literally sat at a desk with an idea, didn't know what the hell to do. My mum knocking at the door wondering why I'm not paying rent, and me telling her I've got a business I want to take off the ground. So it took a lot of convincing. But eventually I was running an agency in the small time, and I was forming these relationships, but it was hard for me to scale. It was a logistical nightmare, and I didn't have that transparency on audience demographics, for example. So what I decided to do was that I needed to build a tech product essentially to be able to scale my marketing efforts. So I went to Guy Raymond, well initially actually I went to James Merriweather, who was kind enough to meet me from KM Capital. We met in Esrud Girl, we had a sit down. He says, you're far too early for me, you've got an idea and nothing more. Fair play. He said, I think you need to go and speak to some guys called the Startup Factory. Straight away, it rang bells. So I met up with Guy and he said, you've also got a great idea, but we don't think you've got enough traction yet. So I slumped back to Tech Manchester. For another year, I built more relationships with brands and influencers, and then I came back to them and said, you know, is this enough for you guys yet? And then from there, I think they've seen the consistency, they've seen that I'd put a lot of work into making this happen, and then eventually a relationship started to form.
2 quick questions before I move on to the next speaker. In terms of skin in the game, did you have to invest some of your own money into the business as well? Because a lot of investors want to see you put some money up as well.
Well, absolutely. So initially when I was running an agency, there was times where I didn't actually get money from brands because it was me, I was trying to prove a concept, and many brands were like, well, you've just got an idea at this stage. So I did put in a lot of my money initially just to build like videos, So when Guy was like, you know, what is this tech product and how is it going to function? You know, how's it going to be functional? I remember Eric, who's also an engineer here, I presented him how this platform was going to work, and he just went, what is that bag of shit, basically? As an engineer, he was just like, what the hell is this, and what does it mean, and what does it entail?
I'm going to apologise to your mum for the swearing. No need for that. I'm sorry.
But he was completely right, you know, he's completely right. I didn't actually have a physical idea of the tech that was involved in building this. So, you know, I did have to put a lot of time and my own money into it. But what I did actually find eventually was that, you know, due to COVID, and, you know, as unfortunate as that time was, for some people, there was also a lot of opportunity in there for some businesses. And as many people may know, the bounce back loan. So I managed to secure the bounce back loan of that, and that was how I managed to break some sweat and put some money into it.
And a final question as well, because you've now got a platform, this is what the team have done, this is what they do, you go to them with an idea, you know, you get honest advice, which is really what founders want. One thing you do here though, sometimes when people invest in a product or they give their time, they can take a huge chunk of equity. So how much of your equity you get to give away?
Right, this is where I walk.
Yeah, okay. So okay, you're going out together. No, on a serious note, because we're all friends around here, okay, roughly, how much equity do you have to give away?
Honestly,
because, I mean, I wouldn't want to see the shirt taken off.
No, honestly, look, we're here to have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I want fellow entrepreneurs here to understand that, you know, what's involved and what typical equity you could be looking at. I remember when I had an initial conversation with the company, they wanted to take 50% off my idea. That was before they built it.
Not this.
Not this. This was another company, and then I sat down with these guys and I looked at it and I thought, I think they're making a mistake here, and it's 15% equity.
They've taken, so they left you with 85, just showing my maths.
50%.
Reece, thanks very much, great start.